But to zoom out and now just talk big picture crypto market, man, what's your take where we are with Bitcoin, this market right now?
So I think that Bitcoin is still the technology flag for the industry. I think that it defines the philosophy of the industry so much, and you're seeing more and more people buy into that concept. Like, if we want the world to have a safe place for money, we want that money to have some, or that store of value to have some inherent characteristics. And it's not just, you know, sort of the crypto crazies now. We're seeing investment banks come in, we're seeing big funds come in, we're seeing hedge funds come in. And like, my take is that institutional capital takes a long time to think about these things. I think it was already thinking about it last cycle, and we're starting to see more and more institutional money come in this cycle. So, you know, the super cycle may happen. I'm still not sure, but I think that we may not see the end of the. I don't know that history is necessarily going to repeat it. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, Christmas comes and it kind of kills everything, and like maybe, you know, January, February will be the end of the bull cycle. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but you know, I don't know. Like, it could go either way. But I think that there's a lot of stuff that's happening both from a macroeconomic point of view. Inflation's increasing in the States. There's like this whole shock that's still yet to be paid for as a result of COVID. I think that macro trend is going to continue, and that could actually really help things like the narrative of Bitcoin going forwards.
So you think that there is a strong possibility that a lot of people are expecting the Bitcoin bull run to end either at the end of this year or at the very beginning of next year? You think there's a strong possibility that this goes, you know, kind of well into 2022?
Yeah. I mean, like, reading people like Willy Woo, who I've got a huge amount of respect for, in terms of how he does his on-ledger analytics. Like, I don't believe in technical analysis. I think technical analysis is bunk, but I do believe in fundamental analysis. And like, a lot of the fundamentals are still looking really strong for Bitcoin and as a result, the crypto industry in general.
I'm going to ask you a fun question that we like to ask all our guests. Keep in mind, this is just, you know, this isn't make your own decisions out there, but by the end of this bull cycle, Bitcoin will be at, what's your take?
So like, yeah, again, not investment advice, certainly not telling you to buy based on this. I think there's a decent possibility for the 120 to 200 region. I think beyond that, it sort of really depends on what happens in the macro economy. Like, if there is a really bad financial crisis, another sort of like recession, I actually think that may be bad for Bitcoin, not good for Bitcoin. Like, there's a lot of people who are talking about this idea of Bitcoin being an escape, but a lot of companies, like the big institutions, see Bitcoin as risk-on capital, not risk-off capital. It's still a very high-risk asset. So I think that actually, if we have a really negative economic outlook, it's more likely to cause a depression in Bitcoin, not a surge in Bitcoin. So it really depends what happens over the next 12 months in terms of the global economy. But yeah, if we continue to be strong, and continue to see the rise in the stock market and the rise in sort of like tech stocks and stuff like that, I think Bitcoin has a good chance of going beyond that as well, going beyond the 200.
And I agree with that general sentiment. And as a reminder, you know, gold tanked just as hard as everything else in the 07, 08 crisis. It was one of the first to recover, but you know, everything gets pulled down if the market crashes.
Right.
But we'll see. Aaron?
Yeah. Because like, a lot of what happens is like, you have funds who buy assets and then they have redemptions, especially in times of crisis. And the redemptions means they have to sell the asset. It doesn't matter how good they think the underlying is. So like, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, great perspective. To watch the full conversation, there's a link down below in the video description. And if you're interested in learning more about cryptocurrency, click subscribe. We drop a video every single day. You do not want to miss one. See you tomorrow.